Good morning, everyone. How do you tell about the state's largest economic changeover process of the last decade in 4 minutes? And what new I could tell you about Euro if all of you presented here knows that on the 1st of January, Euro was introduced? Well, we decided to tell you our insider story. And we wanted to share with you the 3 main lessons learned that we think made this campaign from good to great. The first one is that this campaign actually was about the people or for the people. Regardless what you think about Euro, future of Eurozone or political campaigns regarding Euro, we wanted to make this campaign smooth, safe and easy for each and every inhabitant of our country. And that was not an easy task. Of course we had goals. They were really ambitious. If you're a communication professional, then you should know that when you have to reach numbers above 50%, then the battle for each percent becomes really tough. And it was our case as well. So we decided to compare the introduction of Euro to something natural, like a natural growth. Like the summer comes after winter, the Euro comes after that, and it's a natural process. You can't stop it, you just develop. The second lesson learned is the way how we did it. Of course we had a limited time. Of course we had a limited budget. So we decided to focus on the most effective communication channels, which were firstly mass media, and secondly places where people mostly deal with money. Shops, banks, and even markets. We did achieve our goal. We did a lot, and we also achieved our goal. But this is not what we were mostly proud of. What we were mostly proud of was that communication really helped to achieve the main goal, smooth and easy and safe transition process to Euro. The European Commission admitted that communication played the biggest role, or really great role, in this transition process. And the best described this transition process was by one journalist who wrote an article on the first days of January that the transition process to Euro was boringly smooth. So that we were proud of. But finally, the third lesson learned is that, again, it's about people, and that we, as a society, Latvians here, can be really proud of ourselves. For the first time in my communication professional career, I experienced not competition-based, but cooperation-based attitude. It was really surprising how when we called to banks, to retailers, to private companies, to state institutions, and asked them to help us with distributing information, they all were really open, and they all really wanted to help us. So I think that's why is the reason we were so successful in going in this boringly smooth process, or boringly smooth transition to Euro. And of course, there should stand at least 30 people who were in charge of this process or involved in this process. And I'm really proud and thankful that I had an opportunity to tell the story. But I think it would be only fair that I could answer questions with the help of my good colleagues, head of Euro Bureau within Ministry of Finance, who was responsible of the whole Euro process, Arina Andrejczyk, and then Margaret Ullman, who was head of Euro Communication within State Chancellery. Questions, please.
Could you please list sort of, say, 5 PR instruments or tools that have been most successful? And I'm talking now in very simplistic PR parameters now.
First of all, media relations. Second of all, advertisements. Third of all, direct communication with people, like workshops and seminars. Fourth, website. It was really well visited. A lot of people visited it. And then info line. In a phone line, like phone call line. What I wanted to stress, and this was really important in this campaign, sometimes you speak about innovative ideas or very creative ideas, but in this campaign we were sure that we have to be really cost effective and to focus on the most effective channels. So sometimes the traditional things are the most effective.
What were the risks and crises during this campaign?
We prepared for the crisis a lot. There were huge and extensive crisis plans. We were dividing roles, who will be dealing with what if the crisis happens. But actually, there were really small crises, surprisingly, and there were some representatives for bank who were nodding their heads, saying, yes, it is. So there were some minor protests, like for example, there were against Euro people who made some kind of small monument, but it was noticed by 2 or 3 media mostly, and that's, I think, all.
From our side, we put the emphasis for this cooperation and partnership with the partners, and we really put the emphasis also for this risk management jointly. All the partners were also our participating within the process, and therefore, so we managed all the crises or all the situations together. So the ownership-based process.
Okay, maybe from my side, not a question, but your advice for Lithuanians, because I'm an insider from banking industry, because I know this process, but in your opinion, what will be the most important things that from communication perspective that Lithuanians still can do in one month?
I think it's, first of all, time. As far as I know, Lithuanians are really now in a hurry. I imagine they will be in a hurry to be able to reach our people in time.
This is a story about changes, and that means that maybe communication should be more about how these changes will go on. How do you have a reactor? What do you have to do to reach this smoothly result and to make this process more easy for you, like a person,
So we right now have this cooperation with the Ministry of Finance of Lithuania. We are really cooperating, and we really advise them to go for this training and seminars and to invite the leaders for the different municipalities, local governments, and to be the part. So to be open and to discuss. And it's really important that for us in the regional forums and seminars, our key speakers were involved, and all also municipalities were involved. So it's that you are not only speaking regarding the openness, and you are really engaged within the process, and your key leaders are engaged in the process.
I have one small question. I know that there was several targets you should reach. One of them was also the prisoners, as I remember. How you reach them?
We distributed information to prisoners. How? By information materials. Distributed. Yeah.
That was one way, and second way was
Okay. The materials, information materials, was the one way. The second way was that we met several state services, also including yeah, and they was engaged, and they had information to answer the questions they researched.
Why did you choose that target?
Because we had all the target group is all citizens of Latvia.
This was really important question, why we chose prisoners. Because this was a campaign, and in my professional life, I think it was the first, when we had to reach every citizen of Latvia, or every inhabitant, including prisoners, including socially vulnerable groups, including people who live in the mostly remote areas. And why was it important in this campaign? Because no one other thought about them. Like banks were thinking about their customers, retailers were thinking about their customers, any other organization was thinking about customers, but who was thinking about prisoners or socially vulnerable groups? It was our task or our mission to do this.
Can you name some other socially vulnerable groups that you include?
Pensioners, people living in remote areas, people with different kinds of disabilities, people living in social centers.
Okay, time's up. We have to continue. Thank you, Ministry of Finances.